Playing with Reynas who don't use utility, entry, or want to have fun is really common in ranked. These freaks are almost an instant loss every time you queue into one. But what would happen if one of these basement-dwelling monstrosities made their way into a tier 1 game? Disaster. T1 made the decision to run Reyna against Team Secret, and she was useless. Round after round, these leers just stayed in her pockets and were never let out. Pro play, ranked, it's all the same. I'm sick and tired of these dog shit Reynas! Did you guys know that Valorant games on average last about 45 minutes? That's insane. Most people can only play a few games a day before they have to do homework, answer emails, or work their jobs. But what if you had more time? Well, let me introduce you to Deep Agent. This program is your personal AI assistant that can do anything from plan an entire vacation from start to finish, book dinner reservations, generate well-researched presentations with references, create entire websites or apps, almost anything you need. Are you tired of coworkers bothering you while you're trying to clutch? Just connect Deep Agent to your Gmail or Slack and have it send or post messages for you. For only $10, you get 3 free tasks a month, and for around 25 tasks, you only have to pay an extra $10 and $20. So tap my link down in the description to free up your time and start queuing more games. Double chamber, ISO, Reyna? Is this not a rank game? Well, I guess these agents aren't too bad. See, the reason why teams run Killjoy is because she has a bunch of different setups that can hold the mess that Riot calls mid, and her ult is nuts. But Chamber isn't that bad. His trip only covers 1 choke, many if you want to get mega aggressive, but his main objective is to take early fights, then get out. That's normally how you play Icebox. Whether it's getting up close and personal or playing in more passive long-range angles, Chamber sacrifices a lot of info gathering for being able to fight better. Now, attacking Icebox is all about scaling. Dart into a drone, alongside a flash. Chamber's job is to find the gap and disrupt that process, which is really easy to do in ranked. You'll find more coordination in drunk drivers than you will in comp. But do you know who's a natural counter to Chamber? Reyna. Her leers are the strongest blinds in the game, as you can't turn them, they have infinite range, and can cover a ton of angles if placed correctly. Combine her with the rest of the attacker's kits, and they should be able to constantly blitz Chamber with abilities and make sure he can never play the game. Plus, this is T1, Masters Bangkok champions. Surely these guys can't screw up playing Reyna, right? Their plan on pistol is to perform something I like to call a mini default. In their 3-1-1, KO's going to apply pressure with his 0 point and hope that the defense shift over this way because T1's comp is really good at spamming A. And more on that in this video here. But if the attackers are banking on manipulating rotates, does that mean they're just going to walk into Chamber's crosshair? The game begins with Viper lobbing her poison orb in mid, and both KOs exchanging knives on A. Stacks immediately leaves thinking he's done enough, but Wild Oreo, God, I love Oreos, just got slotted in.
Ups and downs on it, but this might be an up. He's got a tight angle, and T1, oh, the TP out just in time.
T1 got lucky that Oreo missed. Next time, they'll need something like a Reyna Leer, Sova Drone, or a jump spot to shake his crosshair. And now the offense are stalled behind 2GE's Poison Orb, so Buzz swings tube and exchanges shots with Jesse. He must have whiffed too, and TP's out. His teammates have burst through this bubble behind a flash, recon, and there's the Leer. Now, the offense have a pretty open B site, but are afraid that the plant is going to get stalled, or they'll get flood out on. So Meteor wants to extinct those ideas.
Snake Bite does land to try to disrupt this default plant. Meteor pushing forward past the wall, gets the overhealing, now up to 150, takes that fight at range, tagged up just a minor little bit. Eventually just falls in, he swings the corner, finds himself a 2nd kill, a 3rd now as Izu also falls. And now it's just Buzz left standing. He's been spotted, the shield is there, and that's gonna be Team Secret.
Envy hits some nuts shots and forces T1 to save. Every attacker is keeping their classic, except Reyna. She's buying a Sheriff. That's okay, whatever. If your aim is good enough, buying a Deagle at the cost of full armor next round is a good idea. Plus, there's a chance you win your eco round. But the pistols ended up getting plowed, which brings us to T1's first full... Reyna, where are your flashes? Guys, you don't mean to tell me that we're prioritizing 5 rifles and full armor over flashes, right? But I get it, Jimmy, the defense have an outlaw. But why not buy a Guardian or Bulldog, then full armor, and trade with someone who's naturally in the back line? To play against Chamber and not buy Reyna Reyna flashes is like a plumber showing up with just his crack. Lucky for T1, Chambers migrated to A, and they're running the same plan we saw in Pistol. Only this time, Oreo has his trip in his pocket. But how is Silva supposed to watch 3 lanes on his own? Weird. Both teams kick off T1's first full buy with the same knives we saw previously, but the defense aren't scared. Chamber knows he has to do his job and fight up. Suppressed or not, he has backup. Now, the defense's knife didn't tag, and neither did their recon, so the attackers are probably headed B. So as the offense are scaling, KO dips, and Chamber places his trademark up nest so it can hold the entire site, no matter which lane they take. These two leave, while Reyna has made it past B main. Viper's conceded the space since the rest of the map is quiet. She knows T1 are probably here. Now, because the attackers have to go B since they have 0 map control, 2GE is just going to use his poison orb to cancel out Sylvan's toxic screen. Doing so makes pushing difficult, but T1 understand that their play is obvious and can't go until the mid players do something. So Chamber starts his trek up tube, and I think him and Silva spot each other in no replay system, but as he walks up, T1's game plan becomes more clear. At the same time, Chamber, Viper, and the bulk of the offense are starting their pushes to overwhelm the defense from 3 different chokes. Someone's going to slip through, but this poison orb is raising questions. So Silva hops into his drone and spots Chamber. But do Secret expect Reyna or Viper?
Snakebite to try to cut off the approach there from mid. Oh, right in the rope, up over the top. Nearly a timing going to be found there. Envy takes a bit of damage. Jeremy able to find stacks. Shots flying through. Meteor surviving. Gets it devour. The overhealing.
Teets, why are you yelling at Reyna? Meteor clearly doesn't need flashes, and maybe you need some job applications. Sure, the defense were distracted by the attackers in mid, and Reyna capitalized well. But rewind and watch Reyna throughout the course of this round. She just walked past yellow, and in the sight, against a chamber. This is risky. He can't keep getting away with this! Both teams finally have full loadouts, including an up for Oreo. He's back on B with his trip in mid and Secret's 2-1-2, while the offense are hopefully not doing the same thing again, right? Round 4 starts with both teams trading knives. I'm getting deja vu. And the attackers scale up behind their toxic screen and Sova drones, Chamber tucks, and Viper breaks it for him. But as he repeaks, Oreo understands the attackers can be on either side.
Ball raised about the drop. Checks back over towards garage. Re-swing, has the headshot. Meteor.
I told you! Against other Sentinels, you're normally waiting out mollies, tiptoeing around sight to break wires or sensors, or just waiting out slows. You need to be careful to beat those out. But the way to counter Chamber is to chain your utility together and clear every angle imaginable. You cannot just let Viper break this drone for free. Why not leer for the drone to get deeper? This thing will clear out every angle Chamber could be in. Protect it with one of those flashes you didn't use. But now that their duelist is down, someone has to make a play, so Chamber tried walking up tube, but the defense are on top of that with their own drone. But Buzz ain't leaving. With his rendezvous this deep on B, he can sit around mid all he wants until someone forces him out. So while he's exercising his squatter's rights, the rest of T1 have decided to slowly re-clear and go A. Can ISO fend off these 3 on his own?
Jeremy ready.
They're about to just come at him though. Catches a glimpse.
Buzz tried finding a timing off the pressure his teammates made, but couldn't. And Oreo finds another person walking into his crosshair. And now with no other map control, the offense is forced to punch it into A. KO clear sight. They run in, but Stacks dies to Envy while he's distracted by the shiny dart. Can Sylvan win this impossible 1v4 clutch with this little HP?
An Envy
Spike down A.
out from mid, able to go ahead and find that elimination. Nice headshot there from Sylvan. Makes this a little bit more costly, keeps the economy in check here for the side of Secret, but the T1s is about to be absolutely broken. Swing in, Sylvan finding another one. Rides the rope up to the top. Ups to go on the offensive, sees a shoulder. That means an Envy almost getting caught off guard. You start believing in it for a moment there, another ace.
Last round, Reyna walked her team into a half buy this round. But on offense, this isn't the worst thing because Chamber still has a pocket guardian, and Sova can just pick up whatever guns are left as he's done darting and droning. This is kind of another full buy, and their game plan reflects their loadouts. Mostly everyone is staying grouped in their 1-4, while the defense have moved Chamber back to A. Their goal? Get an early kill and get out for the retake, while ISO is taking a more passive position in mid. With the slow option on his contingency, that makes him really valuable in the retake. Round 5 kicks off with You guessed it, knives from both teams. First the defense, then the offense. But to take A main this time, the attackers have raised their toxic screen and are walking behind it, which would protect them from any aggressors. This, compared to last round, is good scaling. And now that they're up, they wait a second for Buzz to create pressure mid and possibly drag rotates over. But Jesse's on top of this lurk. His earlier recon missed, I think, but his drone is playing a game of chicken with Buzz. It expires, and the offense think that was enough pressure to start their A hit. Izu drones. That gets broken because Reyna used her leer over here. All right, Meteor, you didn't want to protect the drone, so you're going to flash now, right?
Put an eye on him. Ops position now confirmed. Envy here on the...
Just why? Why not use your flash to scale forward? Where else could the enemies be? And what kind of spacing is this?
God have mercy upon us.
Stacks tries trading a year later, dies, Envy gets out, and now most of the defense are here. Who is he flashing?
Drift back around the corner, Jesse Vash avoiding the eye.
Right here.
And things are very much falling to pieces here for T1. Buzz desperately trying to grab the weapon, but he cannot. Flawless round from Team Secret.
T1 take a timeout to get a hold of their ranked Reyna. Reyna, hey man, could you use your flashes? It's hard to shake their crosshairs without... You know what? Maybe Meteor is waiting for everyone to have guns to use his leers. Surely that's it. This round, Buzz has decided that 5 rounds of straight lurking is enough, and by this point, Secret should be trying to punish him. And he's right. In their timeout, Secret have talked about this pesky chamber and have decided to punish him in their 1-4. Sova and KO are setting these two up, will hold A once they're done, while Viper anchors B. Buzz juke the defense. Will that be enough to help T1 get their second round? The buy barriers drop, and we see a 0 point for B main. Jesse charges up his recon, waits for these duelists to walk down tube, and at the same time, KO's flash pops as the dart lands. No one's home. The offense are already halfway into A. T1 starts scaling up, over, and past pipes, but Jesse's activated his drone and is scouting for ISO. Amber alert, Jeremy's kidnapped Stacks, Envy's stalling with his ult, and Meteor is using this suppress as the perfect excuse to swing spawn and die without using a single flash. Just why by yourself? And your drone cleared everything. You had the space. Just hold and fight later with your flash. Sylvan swings shortly after and gets the trade. But I think Oreo hears Buzz reload. He's pinging. But first things first, they gotta res KO. Sova rips some shocks as suppressive fire before picking him up, but Sylvan's wall goes up. His Secret need to flush chamber out before he repositions.
Staying planted here for the moment, eating a bit of damage, and oh boy, down to 3. As Wild Warrior able to find that shot. Flash in 2GE, recovering vision, finds Sylvan. Now it is all on Stacks, but he's got the high-low setup.
After Chamber fell, the rest of T1 needed to fight up. 2GE was still alive, and had the offense fall back to play for spam, they would have lost after the defense raises their wall and baits the spike tap. That was the right play, but do you know what would have helped them take these fights? Reyna flashes! It seems at this point that the offense are dead set on going A, and it makes sense. Reyna comps are really good at that. As a matter of fact, I dedicated an entire video to T1 going A 12 times in a row against G2, and they look good then. But when you don't stagger your utility and overwhelm the site against Chamber, you're never going to win. Maybe they figured it out this time. They're slamming A while Secret are back in a 1-2-2 spread. T1 take the front half of A with a snazzy dart and knife combo, which forces ISO back. But the defense get their own scan off, deterring Reyna to swing even with her initial leer, clear B, and flash down mid to deter a lurk. That's so much info. And now, KO decides to scale past pipes. Dry? Like, if Chamber's here, you're just dead. Whatever. Jesse gets suppressed, so his drone's useless. Which, by the way, the defense are trying to disrupt their scaling with the undercut. It's smart, especially if you're trying to set up this sentinel. But the closer T1 gets to site, the more it feels like Secret are on the back foot. ISO's in a one-and-done back site, and Sova's droning from spawn. Reyna's leading the attacker's charge, thinks about flashing, but instead jumps off boxes and wants to suplex the defense from the top rope.
The fact that you're shutting it down this well is very impressive.
Jeremy looking for the swing out. Shield's gonna be broken. Full flash into his face. Envy covering fire. Able to find Meteor. And Jeremy still alive. Now gets the reset. Jesse Bash swoops in from the flank.
So instead of using her leer, Reyna tried to RKO KO from top site. Okay, now Secret setup was more fleshed out than I thought. Because T1 were on a half buy, I think the defense wanted to play in a more passive stance rather than fighting too hard up front and chance giving the offense weapons. From Boiler, KO flashed for Viper to peek mid last round, and then for ISO to swing from backside against T1's execute. Now had Meteor use his Leer instead of Stacks blinding half of his team, including Meteor, T1 have a solid chance at converting their half buy. And on the next full buy, Oreo almost punished them again. Instead of droning against the chamber, Stacks jump spot to fling his knife and got put down to half HP. Listen guys, yes, Reyna is occasionally using her flashes. The title was kind of clickbait. Welcome to YouTube. But she's not using them when or how her team needs to. You're playing against Chamber. Waterfall your utility one after the other while being safe about it. Flash for the drone. Knife to get deeper once the drone expires. And go. Had KO died here, that's another round loss. Yeah, the offense drone eventually, it got broken, and they almost died to ISO. He tried swinging with KO's flash, but it wasn't good. I mean, the offense weren't even considering Jeremy to be there. The defense got overwhelmed, but in my opinion, we're unlucky. The stragglers got picked off, which leads us to another full buy versus full buy. But both teams have switched things up. T1 think that B worked last round, so they're hitting it again, only this time, Chamber's lurking A in their 3-1-1. But Secret are putting an end to that thought quick. As the round starts, KO covers Viper as she spreads out her ultimate, clogging every inch of B main. And Buzz got pushed back on A, allowing the defense to trip deep like last time. 10 seconds in, and the offense are in some deep doo-doo. Their plan B is to regroup and hit A, but the defense start to back off. Chamber and ISO have been posted on Pipes and Belt for about 25 seconds now and haven't spotted anything. The only sus thing that's happened on the map is this poison orb blooming. Early in the round, Sova tried joining it out, but that didn't get deep enough. Attackers could have made it up this way, and Sova's calling for reinforcements. So as the offense are scaling into the front half of A, ISO and Chamber take more passive positions and starts helping Sova investigate mid. Izu starts up his owl drone, that gets cancelled, so the offense slowly start moving up and burst from behind Pipes behind a flash, recon, and a Leer! Nice! That's more like it. The Chamber's forced to fall, but the defense raised their toxic screen, and this trip has slowed T1 down too. The defense are on their way and are getting into position. Chamber's back sight, ISO's in high-low with him in heaven, and Sova's in spawn to line up the perfect Hunter's Fury.
Still though, there it is, 0 point. Now to come through, perfect. Wild Oreo potentially at risk, tucked in here. Dancing around, makes his way over to screens, and Jeremy able to find one. Does get traded out as Izu, comes up with the kill. Hunter's Fury now going to be unleashed.
Oh no!
Envy, able to find Stacks there.
Reyna, you were on the line. This flash couldn't be deeper. Okay, Oreo got suppressed, so he couldn't watch ISO's right, and no one broke this recon dart for Stacks. Then Izu tried making a play, couldn't, and that leaves T1 in a rough 2 versus 4.
Wall raised up, or facing onto this side. Meteor opting the drop down. Buzz joining him, the swing, and Meteor, the instant headshot. Gets rid of Wild Oreo. And Buzz in range, goes back in on the prowl. Looking for the kill, won't be able to find it. 2GE will go ahead and scoop up that, but T1 will have the spike detonate. Look at themselves a 3rd round win, retain the operator, and Buzz catches 2GE at the very end.
Okay, if you're gonna do that all game, sure, throw your flashes in the toilet for all I care. That was sick. Both attackers hit some really nice shots. But unfortunately, that's not a consistent way to win games. Now, because of that loss, Secret are in the same A setup as last round, but aren't leaving the line this time, while T1 have brought out another new game plan in their 3-1-1. Round 10 opens with both teams trading knives, Envy's gets broken, and Stacks does that risky jump spot again. Why not just have your Viper raise her wall up for you? Remember when you got chunked? Whatever, Viper can't hold a potential push on her own, so she backs off, but the A defenders aren't fooled. Chamber slots his trip below so it can hold belt with ISO, and they're just waiting. Secret have sent over Viper to hold on to yellow. From this vantage point, Sova can solo mid, and these two have B. There's no reason to move. And now T1's decision is to group up on B, and they've barely missed this KO flash. The offense now know the setup, and Viper's probably seen KO in another. After that jump scare, the offense feel like they've generated enough pressure on B and backtrack to their Reyna? Who's been lurking? Shouldn't this be Viper or Chamber? Someone who doesn't have flashes? Regardless, Chamber stayed back to lurk later, and after checking a flash, the offense are out. On their way back, Buzz plays peekaboo with Viper, and Reyna drops from belt, alerting the defense. Chamber's lined up on the close and deep main angle, and ISO has belt. So do T1 expect Chamber?
How do they clear this? They have to know. They've given up a decent amount of space. And
All right, now I'm okay with this jump peek. Previously, we could have droned or used our wall first. Here, the offense don't have a lot of options, and it was a nice jump spot. Now T1 pushed back chamber, but what about ISO? KO lobs a flash from deep for his Reyna to get on the line, but it's been a few seconds. The chamber could be ready to repeak. Reyna, throw a Lear.
forward. Suppressed, they have to know that he's going to be closing. Again, the Emperor's going to be shut down. As Wild Wario looking for a little bit more. Can't quite steady the headhunter shots.
Imagine Meteor didn't waste time popping his ult at this exact second. You know, maybe earlier since it lasts the whole round, but instead threw a Lear to scale in with his teammates. Instead, the offense got put into an ISO chamber blunder, and now it's up to Buzz to 1 versus 3. But we've seen him do the impossible before.
This is definitely not what T1 had in mind for this round. Peek forward, looks for it, cannot make it happen. Envy, you're the one to put him down.
With Viper's Pit active, T1 have a new objective. Get her to site. Because they've been aggressive in their fights and Secret tend to turtle up back site, the offense want to plant as fast as possible and play for spam. And if T1 are fast enough, this should work as the defense are expecting another mid lurk in their 1-3-1. A good lurks chamber. The barriers drop and both teams use a bunch of stuff. Sylvan walls, Envy knives, Jesse recons, and the offense do the same. This results in the attackers gaining A main and the defense B main plus mid with this deep trip. Which, by the way, I know I've showed these before in A, but it's such a neat way to use Chamber's trademark. It holds so much space. Jesse can't hold off an entire push on his own, so he gets off site, but 2GE's raised toxic screen stalls the offense. For a while. The defense is almost here. The wall then drops, but T1 don't even go? So it just drones? Go, guys! Use your Reyna flashes! Finally, the attackers start moving. Izu and Envy exchange shots, he mollies, and Meteor throws a Lear, but runs away? It wasn't broken! Your team needs the space, especially because your Viper ulted way too early.
Fine one as Wild Oreo does get taken down. Swing out, Meteor. Tears apart 2GE, but Envy similarly does the same right back to him. Then ult command now in play, and Sylvan is dead. The pit is dropped. As Jeremy finds a third. Buzz again asked to do it all. Gets suppressed, the wall glides past, goes for the peak, disrupts the plant. They're just looking to go ahead and overwhelm him, and they shall.
By not taking back sight with this initial flash and literally running away,
why are you running? Why are you running?
the offense just left so much map control on the table. Watch how the defense just slowly surrounded this ult. There was no breathing room. If you're going to use Viper's Pit, you need to have space first. Otherwise, you're just allowing the defense to creep up on you. Screw it! B worked a couple times for us. Can we just go there again? That's T1's game plan. But Secret are still convinced someone's going to be lurking mid. Good boy, Chamber. You really conditioned the defense, didn't you? Who's a good boy? The final round of the half begins with an exchange of rechargeables. The defense know A is quiet. They tagged like 4 and B, and mid's been cleared with a flash, double peek, and trip. And now 2GE is forced back after being suppressed, and the offense continue to walk up, not even concerned a chamber could be anywhere. Yeah, Silva suppressed, but like, Secret have done this knife all game. Surely we plan around it? The attackers get to the end of B main, and Reyna flashes. That's a good start. Follow that up with a KO flash and recon dart, and yellow belongs to T1. But Secret already have so much of mid, and the read. They're just waiting for the offense to plant.
They're about to meet pretty much the full forces here. As shots open up, 3 players on the floor. Buzz Sylvan able to answer it back. Try to keep things even, but Wild Oreo another shot in. Sylvan now. So needs to play carefully. He's able to get in before the flick can happen, but Jesse Bash.
When planting on B, you need something to protect the planter. Sage's Wall, Harbor's Cove, a gunfire to protect Wingman. Good teams are going to deny the plant with molly, spam, flashes, or here, Secret popped their one-way on main and dumped everything on the offense. Reyna or someone needs to do something to relieve this pressure, like using this spare Lear to push through the wall, like you kinda did on Pistol. I don't know, my voice hurts. How does this team go from dominating G2 to this clown fiesta? If you want to see T1's comp run well, watch this video.